unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Anthony Joshua says 9 times out of 10 he would beat Andy Ruiz Jr. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working very, very interesting things from Anthony Joshua. It's weird because Joshua, after he lost, he was all up in the video, on the cameras, you know, going to the Village to play basketball in New York and popping a wheelie in Times Square, looking like a tourist. And it was like he was trying to show the world that he was okay from the loss. And then after that, you know, when he got back to the UK, it kind of, that facade, it seemed like it disappeared. And he kind of went back to his regular, more so posting schedule and stuff. And I didn't really see or hear anything from Joshua up until recently. And now all of a sudden he's doing all these interviews. You know, maybe this is a sign that negotiations are wrapping up. They're saying Saudi Arabia is definitely a location that they're looking at. They want something that doesn't really give either guy a heavy favorite. You know, so it's definitely a likely candidate, or just a front runner, a place they could hold the fight. But, you know, Joshua somehow he's emerged again, and he's doing all these interviews, and he's saying some very interesting things. I'm going to read a direct quote. Joshua says, and I quote, "If you put me and Andy Ruiz in a machine, 9 times out of 10, I should beat him. That was just his night. He got the win, and we get to do it again at the end of the year. Many of AJ's heavyweight rivals took their opportunities to rub salt into the wounds following his defeat." He says, "I've taken L's. I know how to fight, and I know I'll beat most of these top heavyweights. The day I stop is the day they shouldn't fear me. But until then, just know I'm knocking on everyone's door, and I'm coming. I've done it once. I can do it again. I've won. I've unified the division twice, becoming heavyweight champion. I've been put on my back. I've lost. I'm an experienced fighter. So we'll see what more I have to give." You know, I'm just gonna be serious and frank with you guys. Joshua, he sounds like a broken fighter. You know, he's giving me like familiar shades of Sergey Kovalev. You know, Sergey Kovalev, after he lost to Andre Ward, that's what I'm referring to. Kovalev, he seemed disgruntled. Some of his statements, you know, the attacks and what he was saying about Andre Ward, it's just, I don't know, that's the parallel that I think about when I'm hearing this. And it's not just this one isolated instance, but we're going to talk about that in a second. It's just the whole package. He's saying he blamed Wilder for him losing. He says he had to big fights with Wilder and Tyson Fury looming in the back, and he didn't want to be in there with Andy Ruiz. He said the referee didn't really give him full chances to show. He thought he was going to put his mouthpiece in. You know, to me, that's just BS, because he was showing the signs of a worn out fighter. You get what I'm saying? Like, he spit the mouthpiece out. Referees aren't dumb. They know when people, that's an old veteran trick to buy time. You just got caught out for it, you know, and ref is their job to keep you safe. We've seen deaths in boxing recently, people permanently disabled from, you know, injuries, can't fight again, like Adonis Stevenson, Pritchard Colon. So he's looking out for Joshua. Joshua got dominated. Even the third round, he lost, you know, he lost. And he got dropped 4 times. He was hurt. He admits, you know, that he had a concussion later. So the ref saved you, because it was probably going to get more embarrassing, you know, either more knockdowns or, you know, even worse knockout. So it's like Joshua, he doesn't want to foot the bill. He's looking to blame somebody, and, you know, it's Wilder's fault. the referee didn't do this. It's your fault. You're the professional fighter. Like, it just, some of these statements, it doesn't sound right to me. He's saying, I didn't want to be in there with who? Why would I want to be in there with Ruiz? That's not how that works. Like, that's like Floyd Mayweather saying he lost to Robert Guerrero because he was looking at the Canelo fight and he was looking at Pacquiao fights and he didn't want to be in there with Robert Guerrero. This is someone trying to take your head off. So to me, that is a lame excuse. And you have no one to blame if you underestimate someone. It's just, all of this is all over the place. Listen, I did the 7 reasons, and it was legendary. I did the 7 reasons for Andy Ruiz Joshua fight, and one of the reasons I said before the fight, the videos are still up, it's time stamped and everything. I said is underestimation, and I made videos before the fight where Joshua was doing these MTV Cribs style vlogs on his vlogging channel. I mean, you're a heavyweight fight. Your original opponent, Gerald Big Baby Miller, is caught up in a drug scandal, a PED scandal, and you think it's wise to have a late switch opponent. You guys only have 5-6 weeks to prepare for each other. This is a totally different style than what you had been training for. A different size man, a different height man, different style, different attributes, different strengths and weaknesses, different resumes, everything. And you think it's wise to be filming in Miami, filming vlogs. And what name a foreign fighter that even goes to Miami? Well, if anything, it probably would be a foreign fighter, because if it's someone who's an American, they would know Miami's not really the spot most people go. Adrian Broner and a couple other people have went to Miami recently, but I think that's because that's where Kevin Cunningham was training. But why would you be a UK fighter fighting in New York and you decide to go to Miami? When I think of Miami, I think of like retired gangsters and drug dealers and women in bikinis and great Cuban food and beaches and stuff. That doesn't really seem like, it's like he was living like he was Scarface or whatever. You still got a fight coming up and you're switching styles. And then after, when it goes bad for you, Joshua's saying things like, oh, I didn't want to be in there with Ruiz. It's just, Joshua, it sounds like he's building himself up, like he's trying to convince himself. And he seemed to do this. The thing is, Joshua, from what I've noticed, he's almost like the Joker in The Dark Knight. Rest in peace to Heath Ledger. When the Joker in the movie, one of his shticks was he was telling different people all these different lies, and no one knows what the true story is, but he was telling different accounts and different versions of how he got the scars on his face. He's at a party and he's like, do you want to know how I got these scars? My father was a drinker. 1 minute he blames his father and says one night he gets crazier than normal, and he's doing this whole spiel saying his dad, why so serious? Then later in the movie, he says something totally different. So it's like, okay, the Joker's really a sociopath, because he's like a habitual liar. He's just changing the story and saying he got it one way and then another way. He's saying that's what Anthony Joshua has done. He needs indefinite need of a PR person. He's sounding very confident in certain interviews, but then he tells on himself by stating something else. In his Sky Sports interview recently, he says he questioned if he was good enough. But then in that same very interview, he says he will beat Andy Ruiz in Mexico, in Tijuana, Mexico, with his uncle, his tío, as the ref. Which makes absolutely no sense, because he also said in the interview that he came to America and he didn't have to. He was like, I came to America on my back, whatever that means, and he's, I guess, pleading for sympathy and saying like, hey, I took the chance and came to America. Now he should come to the UK. I want it in Principality Stadium in Cardiff, right? So if you're willing to fight somebody in Tijuana, Mexico, Andy Ruiz already said he wanted to fight in Mexico or the USA. So there should be no negotiation, hangups, or anything if you're willing to fight in Mexico. But what you're saying, you're clearly not being truthful, and you don't want to fight him in Mexico. So it's like, why even front like that? It's just very weird. You're going to say you're willing to fight him and have his uncle as the ref and fight in Mexico, but we know you don't want to fight in Mexico. And then the rest of the interview, you're pleading to try to get the fight in the UK, and it looks like maybe it might happen in Saudi Arabia. These are the types of loopholes and inconsistencies with the speech of Anthony Joshua. And it's mind-blowing that he doesn't have people in his corner who are like, you're not looking right with all these different sediments. He said, someone said, hey, Andy Ruiz called you a robot. He says you're real robotic. This is before the first fight. And he's like, what? He said that? Oh, okay. If he wants to trash talk, then I'll break his jaw. So he got gangsta on Andy Ruiz. But then the fight happened and then you lose. But before that, he was saying that he hired a sports psychologist and a Navy SEAL to help him better deal with pressures of, warfare. And what if Andy Ruiz catches him with the big shot, a home run punch, and he can't recover, which is actually what happened. It's just weird. You don't really typically see fighters, let alone heavyweights, put those types of statements out. So the confidence feels very forced, and it feels disingenuous because it doesn't seem like it's consistent. You got to be consistent. He's saying one thing, but then he says another, and it makes you question which one is the true feeling. And I feel like Joshua is faking his confidence, and he's putting it on too thick, and he really has insecurities and self-doubt about this. I mean, listen to the quote. If you put me and Ruiz in a machine 9 times out of 10, I should beat him. That statement alone doesn't sound alpha male. That doesn't sound. Who says I should beat him? Like, if you talk to Roy Jones, he's not gonna say, you put me and James Toney in the ring, I should beat him. He's gonna just make the statement. He's just gonna say, man, I'll work James Toney. I'll beat him. You say Floyd. What about you and Ricky Hatton? Man, Ricky Hatton, he easy work. Man, Pacquiao, I make all the adjustments. Floyd is not going to say I should beat somebody. I should beat him. He says, I've taken L's, I know how to fight, and I know I'll beat most of these top heavyweights. Who says that? These are his words, most. So you won't beat all the top heavy. Deontay Wilder doesn't talk like that. Deontay Wilder doesn't say, he says, I'm the best. Oh my gosh, one face, one name, one champion. I will show you. I promise you that. This is my time, and enjoy it while I'm here. That's what he said. He's not saying I should beat these guys and, I might be able. That's what Joshua is saying. So when he does all this other stuff, I'll fight him in Mexico and whoop him, it doesn't sound believable at all. And look at the statement. He says, if you put me and Ruiz in a machine, 9 times out of 10, I should beat him. What does that even mean? What is put him in a machine? What does that mean? Like he's at a laundromat. What kind of machine? What are you talking about? And I hate when people build their own statistics like that. You have no experience with Andy Ruiz outside of the one fight that you had where he whooped you and he beat you. So where would you even get this statistic? How do you know you'll beat Andy Ruiz 9 times out of 10 when you only fought him once and you lost, and you lost bad? I could understand if Joshua had sparred Andy Ruiz for years and then he would always get the best of him, but then come fight night or something, he lost to Andy Ruiz. Something like that would make sense. If you this 9 times out of 10 stuff, it would make sense because you have experience with him and you can beat him, or you've knocked him out in sparring, or you've gotten the best of him. But how can you say 9 times? Some people just accept what people say. I don't just accept what you say. I'll listen and I'll check to see if it makes sense. He says, if you put me and Ruiz in a machine 9 times out of 10, I should beat him. How would you know that when you only fought him once and you say you should beat him, but you lost and got dominated? So how do you know if you fight 9 more times for a total of 10 times, you're going to beat him. Aside from that, Joshua seemed like he struggled with the pressure, and he's putting the pressure right back on himself, just like that, because he's saying all this stuff. 9 times out of 10, I should beat him, and I'll whoop him in Tijuana and all that. Man, if he loses, it's going to be ugly. Andy Ruiz doesn't really have pressure. He's living the life. He's getting 2 multi-million-dollar paychecks, and he got all the recognition in the world. Bought his mama a crib, bought a new Range Rover, moved into a mansion. He's not even supposed to be here. So as far as I'm concerned, the pressure's on the guy who wasn't supposed to lose in the beginning. Ruiz, I'm not. Even if he were to lose, the pressure's not on him. He's the guy that looks tubby. He's the guy, again, that's not even supposed to be here. And with Joshua stating statements like this, I can't wait to see it. He's talking about 9 times out of 10 I should beat him. We'll see, because it looked, as if Andy Ruiz had your number. Mike Tyson even said something similar. He beat him before, he can beat him again. So we'll see how it plays out. But Joshua, the last thing he should want to do is put pressure on himself, because he looked like he struggled with all the pressure of, trying to compete with Wilder's Dominic Brazil knockout, which was 2 weeks in the same city, 2 weeks before the Ruiz fight. Wilder also pressured by announcing he was fighting Luis Ortiz and Tyson Fury on his fight week, the Ruiz fight week. And Joshua doesn't seem like he deals with that pressure that well, and he seems like he's trying to force confidence and make it seem like he's confident. But we'll see how it all plays out. I think he has a chance to win, but I'm definitely favoring Andy Ruiz, because at the end of the day, if you really believe what you're saying, you probably wouldn't even have to talk about it so much. You would just be like, all right, I'm back in the gym, I can't wait to show you what I've been working on. But he's putting it on thick as if he like it was a fluke, like in terms of he was destroying Ruiz, and then all of a sudden, one round, Ruiz caught him, and the rest was history. That's not the case. He was being dominated. Outside of round 3, what round could you even give him? He didn't look. It just I can't buy into Joshua's confidence, because it doesn't seem real to me. He's saying he's not getting rid of Rob McCracken, but he wants to add on to the team. It really seems Kovalev-ish. Kovalev started blaming John David Jackson and talking to his Russian trainer, and then he recruited another trainer, an Olympian, and brought on new people. Some people have a hard time interpreting the loss and figuring where it went wrong, and it seems to me like Joshua has that. Let me know what you guys think. He said 9 times out of 10 he'll whoop he'll whoop Ruiz. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We work. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.